You are becoming a change agent as you go through the Academy for Addiction Professionals. What is a change agent? Well, a change agent is somebody in the behavioral health field that they create positive changes in people's lives. The students that go through this process, they become counselors, and some of them become therapists, and some of them get licensed, and they do specialized work. And this concept of a change agent, it came to me several years ago because I was asked, what does a therapist or counselor do? Regardless if it's substance abuse, mental illness, dual diagnosis, or what have you, or any of the specialties. And the fact of the matter is that they change people's lives, and in very simplistic terms. And just because something is simplistic doesn't mean that it's difficult. And so, in its simplistic terms, you change people's lives. Why or how? Is you take their thoughts that are disorganized and you reorganize them so that they can be successful. In other words, as a counselor, you're going to deal with and challenge and hopefully create a platform where people see that their belief system is not working for them, so that you're going to work with their irrational beliefs and take them through the steps of how they got to those beliefs. You're going to be dealing with people that have mental illness such as depression and anxiety, and you're going to be unraveling where the depression is coming from. Is it chemical? Is it environmental? Where the anxiety is coming from? What are the steps to take to do all of that? And so also in substance abuse, you're going to be dealing with the different levels of a substance use disorder. You're going to be dealing with substance abuse or substance use, substance abuse. And then it sort of gets into substance dependent and then addicted. And so, as a change agent, you're going to be teaching the person where they're at. In other words, there's where that reorganization of the thoughts come in. You're going to be showing them that this is where you're at right now. This is what seems to be your level of motivation. This is where your conflict is coming from. So it's important that as a counselor, different theories, which we address. Different techniques, which I will actually come back to in a moment. That different theories. That the history of substance abuse in this country and where it is, and mental illness and where it is. In terms of techniques, you're going to learn something that really defines you as a change agent. As somebody who really gets in and makes a difference, and that is that the techniques or the tools that you use are the questions that you ask. Learning about how to ask questions, the timing of asking questions, and then also sort of filling in the blanks when people struggle with with their history, and asking those questions. These are all things that that need to be done by a change agent, by somebody who who has the education, who has been through the formal training, and so it becomes a task where you are, as I said, a change agent. You are also a role model. You're also a teacher. You're an educator. Sometimes you're their priest and their rabbi, all rolled into one. One of the reasons that it's a very exciting time, and I thought I would go into this a little bit, is that it's the first time probably in our history where mental illness is finally getting the recognition it deserves. Of course, it's for the wrong reasons. It mostly comes from school shootings and public opinion of things, of the mentally ill. But you know what? It's out there, and when things get into the fabric of public opinion, and I'm going to loop back to this again, is you become a change agent again, and so you'll be learning about not only addiction but about mental illness as well, and sort of the combination of it. And so the other thing that I want to point out, which I think is very critical, is that for years, theoretically, people take mental illness and they take addiction and they separate it, right? Addicts to the right, schizophrenics to the left, and they separate it, and they work on their stuff. And, statistically, you have somebody who's a schizophrenic who also has a drug problem, they don't get better. You have somebody who's an addict who also has depression or anxiety, they don't get better. But here's the deal. The deal is this, and this is another factor of being a change agent, is that addiction is a mental illness. It's not separate and above or separate and below or apart or anything like that. It literally is a mental illness. How do we know this? Well, we know this because by the time it gets to an addict or an addiction, we know that addiction is based in trauma, right? And we know that there's an anxiety component to it. And we know that with the anxiety is obsessive compulsive thinking, obsessive compulsive behavior. And so if you take that and you get to the root of the addiction through that thinking, which is the trauma and the anxiety and all of that, you pretty much are going to get into the relapse prevention and the skills of how to stay sober, right? And how to do all that. So it's all under the umbrella of behavioral health. It's all mental illness, and the education is a wonderful experience. And you get that piece of paper, and you can go anywhere you want with it. It's a specialty, and it takes a special kind of person.